Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name's Tandiwe Moreo, and today I'm going to be telling you about lenses and the main categories of lenses. But first, if you're a first-time visitor here, welcome and thank you for viewing my channel. If you're returning, thank you for your continued support. If you've not subscribed to the channel yet, you can subscribe via the button below in red, written subscribe. I release videos for beginners every Monday and Thursday, so these videos, just a disclaimer, are trying to break down the more technical aspects of photography into very basic stuff for a beginner. A beginner is anyone who you're just beginning photography and you're so confused by the content out there on the internet, or you've not even bought your first camera and you think you may want to be a photographer and just want to understand a little bit more about photography in general. Straight into lenses, which is one of my favorite topics. Lenses is almost where the magic is. Apart from lighting in photography, lenses have the ability to completely transform your perspective on a single image without the model or anything else changing. So the first category of lenses is the super wide lenses. Here I have a Sigma 10 to 20 millimeters, and the super wide lenses is anything below 24 millimeters. And these lenses are typically used when you're shooting in very tight spaces and you want a very wide perspective, wider than your eyes can see, of the scene in front of you. The second category of lenses is known as wide angle lenses, which is 24 to 35. Here I have a 35 prime lens, and these are also used when you want to take in a wider scene than your eye can see. So still if you're shooting in tight spaces, but you don't want distortion. And I will probably use this to take a couple of pictures to show you what distortion looks like on this lens. All right, so that's your wide angle. The next category of lenses is your standard lenses, and these go from 35 to 70. So this is a category of the 50 millimeter. And the range of standard lenses, or rather the unique thing about standard lenses, is they see how your eye sees. So like I explained in my other video here about the 50 millimeter, you're going to see things as your eye sees on a full frame camera. Next category of lenses is the telephoto lenses, and these are like the big lenses that everybody likes putting on their camera to look super professional. I remember when I was starting, this is like what I wanted to use all the time. And these range from 70 millimeters onwards, and they're usually used when a subject is really far away and you want to bring them closer, or you want to make them bigger in your screen without walking towards them. They're really good also if you want to blur the background of your shot. Something I forgot to say about the wide and the super wide category of lenses is they're really good for landscapes. So I'm sure you've all seen those shots where you just see like a really wide view of the plains of Africa, or like the buildings, or like, you know, Mutua's images where he's standing on a small building in town and you can virtually see the whole city. Use wide lenses for that. Typically, as a fashion photographer, I'm more in this range, the standard lenses and the telephoto, because I don't want to distort my model's face. And distortion means you make their nose look more fat or their face look more round. You don't want to do any of those. So the nice thing with the telephoto and the standard lenses is that they compress the pictures so that features look as is in camera. So one of the questions Kangai asked when we were shooting this video, shout out to Kangai, is what the mm on each lens means. So this is a 35 mm, this is a 50 mm, and the mm stands for millimeter. And the most simple way I can think to explain this is it measures the distance between, for example, where the light enters your eye and your retina. In this case, your retina will be the sensor on the camera. And you know, where the light enters your eye is where the light gets into the camera. All right, so here we go. Right in there, your sensor is in there. So that silver thing that you're seeing, that's a mirror. Behind that is a sensor. I can actually demonstrate what that looks like on a lens. So you can see how this is what the 50. On the 50, the distance between the glass inside the lens and like the edge where it mounts onto the camera is not too deep. But then compared to this is an 80 to 200, you'll see how deep inside the glass is. There we go. So the glass is like way in there, and then where the lens mounts onto your camera is like more in front. So essentially what we're saying is there's space between where the light hits and where it enters the camera. And if I put up these lenses, you'll see that the space is less and less on the wide lenses. One of the important things to note is that your wide lenses essentially see like this. They see a lot wider than your eye may see. But the more you go towards a telephoto lens, a normal lens is about the normal distance, broadness that your eye see. Whereas with the telephoto, it really narrows down. It sees a really small spot, but it can bring it really close. But it only shows you a really small part of the whole image that you may be seeing with your eyes. I know a question most of you will have is the price of these different lenses, and the truth is you need to invest in good lenses. They make a big difference. This guy over here, the 10 to 20, goes for about, if I'm not wrong, around 45,000 shillings on Amazon. The 35 goes for 20,000 on Amazon. This one goes for 22, the 50. And then the big boy goes for about more than $1,000. So he'll set you back, anywhere between 80 to 110,000. But again, if you understand what you need to use each lens for, the price is actually worth it, and it will help you do your job and recover that money. So don't panic. The price is also, you buy lenses once in your life, or maybe twice, and then you never need to buy them again. So to drive the point home, I took a picture with each of these lenses using the exact same camera settings. That's your aperture, ISO, and shutter speed. If you don't know what those different terms mean, check for the video about the exposure triangle in the description box below. I also took them standing from the exact same position with the same camera body, so that the only thing that's changing in each of the images is the lens. So here's an example of an image shot with the 10 to 20 millimeter. As you can see, it shows a big portion of the scene. You see the subject, but you also see the background and the environment around them. Of important notice is at the corners, if you can see, the image is almost bending or curving, and that's what we call distortion. Then here's an image shot with a 35 millimeter lens. So you can see it's a lot closer than the 10 to 20. The distortion on the background is less, and the subject is just a little bit closer to the camera than before. The next image is an image shot with a 50 millimeter, which is a standard lens. And essentially, because this was shot with a full frame camera, what you're seeing is the same perspective of view you'd see if you lowered your camera and looked at the scene with your own eyes. So the 50 is equals to eyesight. The next image is shot with the 80 to 200 at 200 millimeters, to give you a more extreme example. And you can see right now the subject is way close to the camera and the background is blurred really beautifully, so that a lot of the focus is on the subject themselves and you're not distracted by the leaves and the other things behind them. This lens is my personal favorite for shooting portraits outdoors because of that reason. You can remove distractive elements altogether. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've learned some basic things about the different types of lenses out there. If you're a professional photographer, it would be amazing if you could give your own experience and knowledge about lenses in the comment section below. For viewers who are beginners, you can ask any questions you have about this video in the comment section below. For first timers, if you've not subscribed to my channel, it would be amazing if you could do that by clicking the subscription button or this link to see my videos every Monday and Thursday for beginners like you. If you liked what you saw, give me a thumbs up so I can keep going with this. If you want to connect with me, I'm available on Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, and off my website, www.tandiwemuro.com. All those are linked for you in the description box below. That's it for now. Until next time, see you guys.